Hello, everybody. This is Sri from BizBuzz. What matters the most in your business? All the topics that we talk in BizBuzz are the most important topics for growing or running your business. Uh, Again, this is sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a software particularly designed and catering to service-based small businesses. If you are one of those, please take a look at myworkbelt.com and check us out. Now, I have a guest, Craig. Hey, Craig, how are you doing?
Sri, I'm doing wonderfully. As you know, I had food poisoning and then a potential kidney stone. And so I'm actually feeling pretty good now. So
Uh,
that's something to celebrate just in itself.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much for joining the show, despite you having a trouble with your food poisoning and kidney stone. But I'm so glad to see that you're doing very well compared to a couple of days ago. So now, while I'm watching you and I'm seeing your facial expressions and thinking of like, what is the importance of these facial expressions? What is the importance of the body language when you are in a meeting with your prospect, particularly prospect, but if you are in a meeting with somebody else? So I thought that is a good topic that we can cover today. What do you think?
No, I think that's great. So important.
Yeah. So when you and I are talking in person, naturally you will see my body language and your mind will be continuously thinking, what am I saying and how am I saying? What is the reason behind my saying? Am I right?
Yeah.
So, what do you suggest to the people who are going into the prospect meeting? What do you suggest with them?
It's I somebody said years ago, somebody told me years ago that communication is 90% nonverbal.
Yeah, I hear that.
And so I think there's two sides of the equation is one, you have to be conscious of your body language.
Indeed, yeah.
So anytime you're sitting there with your arms crossed, this is not good.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's really not good because, that communicates being closed off. And a lot of times our own body language amplifies through our thoughts and our posture. And
Sure.
so, I've heard people say, when you're on a sales call, and this is back in the days of telephones, before
Mhm.
Zoom had even been thought of,
Right.
they said, make sure you're smiling while you're talking to people.
This
And
guy.
you're like, I'm on the telephone. They can't see that. And they said, it changes your voice.
It does change your voice.
And so, so I think the first part is you need to think about your own body language. One, what you're communicating visually, but two, the impact that that has on how you're connecting, how you're communicating. I mean, if somebody can hear on the telephone whether you're smiling or not, then by golly, you better be smiling whether you're talking to a blind person or whether you're talking to somebody sitting right in front of you in person.
However simple it is, the smile has a great deal of value, whether you're talking to somebody in person or on Zoom or on phone as well, particularly, right?
Yeah.
But these days, although our generation may not be as much on text messaging, but the next generation is grew up with the cell phone in their hand and then typing the text messages, right? But you take the body language into the text message, at least in the voice. Yes, on the smiling or frowning can be heard the other party. What do you do with the text messaging? Do you keep pushing the smiley face on every sentence?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend mentor who has said anytime you try to resolve conflict via email or text message, he said, if you do that in my company, you're fired. Bottom
That it
line,
is.
you're fired. Written medium is not the that's not the form of resolving conflict. You either pick
Right.
up the phone, you meet them in person, or you call them, or you get on Zoom. And so that I think addresses a lot of what you're talking about. And but at the same time, you have to be careful. Sometimes we unintentionally communicate things we didn't want to communicate.
Mhm.
And smiley, if you put a little smiley face in there, it's good to help remind whoever you're talking to that this is a joke. So, for instance, I think yesterday I was having fun with both my wife and one of my employees, somebody named Elena. And
Mm,
because my wife had been very clear, she's like, if this pain doesn't go away, I want you to go to the doctor on Friday.
mm,
And I was messaging Elena saying, hey, here's what's going on. She's like, you should go to the doctor. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to the doctor. It's a waste of time. And she said, well, do it for Karen, my wife. And so I messaged Karen and I said, Elena just told me that going to the doctor is a waste of time. And, uh, and I took a snapshot of that conversation with my wife and shared it with Elena.
Hello.
Now, but both of them know me well enough.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
but I still put a little smiley face
Smiley
there
face.
as a cue of, hey guys, I'm just having fun here.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes,
but a couple things were in place. They both know me. You know, uh,
yes.
Elena's worked for me since 2012.
Right.
She took a 5 year break in there, but I mean, she's known me for over a decade.
Hmm.
And and so there's a lot built in. If you're building new relationships, I think be very, very careful about written communication. You don't know the history of the person you're communicating with, what has
It's
meaning to
true.
them, what doesn't.
It's not only history, you don't know their culture, you don't know how they take the certain words, and it's just a lot more than just simply you don't know their history, their upbringing, their ideologies, their political stand, their thinking. There's so much to it.
Yeah,
So simply making I mean, if it is a new relationship, it's even more important to be more professional. But coming back to the body language and facial expressions, right? So, is there a difference between the body language and facial expression when you are in a Zoom call or when you are in person? Zoom call meaning the virtual meeting, something like what you and I are doing right now. How is that different from the in-person meetings when you are sitting in front of each other in physically?
yeah. I would just say that it's you have more information or you have less information coming through on Zoom.
Hmm.
So like written communication, which we've been talking about, you have a lot less information because a lot of the information's not in the words.
Yeah.
And in person, you can hear the breathing. You you and you just have a little bit more information. When
Can
you're
see
looking.
their leg movements, whether they are keep changing their posture, if they are changing their uh, what you call the hand gesture on the virtual meetings like this. You don't have a other than facial expression. You don't have much more visibility to any other parts of the body.
Yeah, and so you can still get a lot out of Zoom. I certainly
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Um, but you have to be looking for it.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
so let's kind of jump forward to like in person, and maybe we can back up again to how to apply that to Zoom. It's I think just maintaining an intense focus on whoever you're speaking with. You you start to notice things that are out of place, and it's tough. I don't even know how to teach this, but you get a sense for what's normal, and when you see something that's abnormal, you should pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
And so I was thinking of a meeting I was in a few months ago, and I said, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And the person who I wasn't running the meeting, but the person I can't even describe to you what I saw, but their response, it seemed to me, it registered hesitation. And so I didn't know why the hesitation was there.
Mhm.
And so instead of just pushing through or leaving uncertainty, I said, "Is that okay if we do that?" Or or do you object to us doing that? And she said, "I've got to pee." And so, but the hesitation I saw, you think about this, I proposed something. I think what happened in her mind was, okay, this will be another 10 minutes of discussion, which means another 10 minutes before I can pee again. And I really need to pee now. Do you mind if I step out and go pee? And then I'll come
And
back
you
and
can have a comfortable conversation. But if you don't ask that question, you would be assuming wrongly, right?
yeah, yeah.
The, the,
And
the purpose of hesitation is different than actual dialogue, a business dialogue. That's the human desire for nature call is the purpose of the hesitation, not the actual proposal that you are making.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I didn't know. You just don't know. All I saw was, I saw like a split
A
second of
sense of
hesitation,
hesitation.
and I thought there's something about this that bothers her. And it turns out it was her, she just had to pee. But I think that's the thing. As some people are more naturally in tune with body language. The children of alcoholic parents are incredibly intuitive. They can read what's going on in a room better than anybody. My parents weren't alcoholics, but for some reason, I've been able to pick up on certain signals, and the and so the way you train that is if you see something, if they look uncomfortable, quickly kind of process and say, and you could say it's something as simple as like this is like, it seems like that made you uncomfortable. So, and I would phrase it just like that. It seems like
That's
that made
correct.
you uncomfortable. And so you just gave them freedom,
To say it, to respond to it.
and you'll be shocked at some of the things that come out. They may say, no, it's something else, or in her case, well, it's just that I have to pee.
Yeah.
Or it could be, sometimes it will be legitimate. You did
Nine
sense,
out of 10 times, my experience is definitely they clearly states that yes, I am uncomfortable in this situation because of reason one, two, three, four. They will give you a lot more information that you would ever ask for verbally that you are not going to get it.
yeah.
Just simply picking up that hesitation feeling from their mind, from their facial expression or body language. It's an incredibly powerful dialogue for further more building the trust and furthermore resolving the challenges.
And that's the thing, what you just said about building the trust. When you do that, you're showing respect to the person, you're showing care to the person. And so they're going to naturally, it's not going to offend them. And if you're wrong, they'll just say, no, no, everything's good. Sometimes you did make them uncomfortable, but when they're processing through, and I'll give you a story of where I said something like that, and I'm 100% certain what I said was accurate, but they started unwinding what they were saying. I was in a meeting with a client, and I was meeting with their sales team, and the meeting was going horribly, just absolutely horribly. It was going so bad. I was just getting ready to end the meeting because to continue the meeting would do more damage than good.
Yeah,
And I remember at one point, I just kind of looked at him and I said, "It seems like you feel like I came here to critique the sales team today," which I will guarantee you is 100% true what they felt. But what she said was, "No, no, 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 no. We need to be open to outside input, and just all of a sudden she came up with all the reasons we should be having that conversation. She made them from her own perspective. And she said we were just confused by this. which I think that was her just looking for a life raft. And I said, you know what? I can see why that would be confusing. I'm very sorry about that. And the meeting, in a 30-second period, the meeting went from a meeting that I thought we should just end because it was disastrous to a meeting that
Your
became very,
productive
very
meeting.
productive. But it began with a statement, it seems like.
Yes.
It seems like. And it can't be in an accusatory, where you have your, back to body language where your shoulders are forward and you're pointing. It has to be, hey,
Very relaxed body language. Again, not only that word it seems to be, but your also body language, your facial expressions makes a huge difference when
yeah.
you are making that post question. Excellent. So thank you very much, Craig. And that was a great content today. And audience, I hope you see the value of body language and you see how to pick up the body language, use it to your own advantage when you are in either a negotiating meeting or you are in a prospect meeting trying to close a transaction. Thank you very much for sticking around with us. I hope this bite sized education is helping you and furthering your skills. Great. Thank you very much for joining me today. And I'll, as always, greatly appreciate your inputs and your kindness to sharing the knowledge.
Thank you, Shri. You have a great day.
You too.